You ever train someone, really train them, show them the ropes, walk them through the landmines, even cover for their screw-ups? Only for them to turn around, smile in your face, and knife you straight in the back? I'm not talking petty drama. I'm talking career-ending betrayal, the kind that makes you question if you'll ever trust anyone again. He was fresh, clueless, and damn near drowning on day one. I pulled him out. I built him. I turned him from a nobody into a serious contender. And when he got strong enough, he used every trick I taught him to try and replace me. But here's the thing, he underestimated who he was messing with. Now, he's unemployed, blacklisted, ghosted by every company he applies to. And I didn't even have to raise my voice. Let me tell you exactly how I ended his career, using only the lessons he learned from me. I've always believed in building people up. Maybe it's the way I was raised: work hard, lift others, and success will follow. So when my company, let's call it Stratex Solutions, hired this new guy, Tyler, fresh out of grad school, they assigned him to shadow me. I'd been there 6 years, senior project lead, handling multi-million-dollar client accounts like clockwork. My name carried weight. My record was clean. I wasn't flashy, but I got results. Tyler? Man. The dude was eager, I'll give him that. Bright smile, fast talker, had that I can figure it out energy. But beneath all that confidence? He didn't know squat. He fumbled through onboarding, nearly bombed his first internal presentation, and couldn't even format a client pitch deck properly. I mean, it was bad. But I saw a bit of myself in him. I'd been thrown into the deep end once too. So I stepped in. I stayed late to explain the internal systems, walked him through how to build timelines, showed him how to work the room when pitching, real-world stuff they don't teach in classrooms. I even let him sit in on senior-level meetings he wasn't supposed to be in, just so he could absorb how deals were really made. And the dude soaked it up like a sponge. For a while, I actually felt good about it. Like, mentor good. You know? Like I was leaving a legacy. I'd even joked to my boss, Tyler's gonna replace me one day. Funny how that ended up being more prophecy than punchline. Because somewhere along the way, Tyler stopped being the student and started eyeing the throne. It started small. Tyler began subtly putting himself in front of clients. You know, answering questions that were directed at me, tossing in his ideas even when we'd already discussed strategy. At first, I let it slide. Chalked it up to ambition. Hell, I was proud, he was getting confident. But then he started copying the exact phrases I used in meetings. My phrasing. My structure. My templates. Still, whatever. Imitation is flattery, right? Then came the client pitch, a huge one, for a new e-commerce platform that could bring in a 7-figure contract. I had worked on that proposal for weeks. Built the strategy from scratch, tailored every slide, crafted a narrative that would blow the client away. Tyler offered to help tighten it up. Cool, I thought. Good experience for him. Except, when we walked into that pitch, guess who suddenly took over presenting? Yup. Tyler. He acted like I was just there to nod along. He walked the clients through my deck, sprinkled with a few flashy buzzwords, some last-minute edits he hadn't even run by me, and took full credit like he'd led the whole thing. Worse? The clients loved it. Afterward, he said with his smug little smirk, "We made a great team today." A week later, Jenna, our VP, calls me into her office. "Hey, I wanted to talk about leadership restructuring. Tyler's really stepping up. I think he's ready for his own portfolio." Wait, what? This kid, 2 years in, was now being handed accounts I had nurtured for half a decade? That was the first punch. But it wasn't the last. Because Tyler didn't just want a seat at the table. He wanted my seat. It got worse. Soon, clients I'd worked with for years started requesting Tyler instead of me. He was emailing them behind my back. Setting up calls. Making suggestions without running them through our team. And then came the real blow. A confidential strategy deck I'd been building for months, internal use only, somehow made its way into a pitch he gave to a competing client. Almost word for word. I confronted him. I kept my cool, asked politely, "Did you use my internal draft in that proposal?" His answer? "Oh, I didn't realize it was still just a draft. I assumed it was company property." Company property. That was the moment I knew, I wasn't dealing with a mentee anymore. I was dealing with a snake. He was gaming the system, playing dumb when caught, charming everyone else with that innocent who, me? Routine. And worst of all? It was working. Jenna started pulling me off higher level projects. Said she wanted to give Tyler more room to grow. They gave him a title bump, associate director. And me? I was still senior project lead. Same office. Same badge. But my influence was slipping. The guy I trained had just leapfrogged me, and he did it using everything I taught him. That's when I stopped being angry. And started being dangerous. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to throw a tantrum. Tyler wanted to play office chess? Cool. I'd just play better. See, he thought he had me beat because he was loud, confident, and climbing fast. But he forgot one thing: I built this floor. I knew where every wire was hidden, every trip cord, every single policy clause no one ever reads. And I knew him. I knew how he moved, how he cut corners, how he operated when no one was watching, because I had trained him. So I started watching. Documenting. I turned into a ghost with a clipboard. Every time Tyler skipped protocol, I logged it. Every time he sent confidential files outside approved channels, saved. Every time he booked a client dinner and expensed it with his personal card and a vague description like networking dinner, I had receipts. Literally. And it wasn't hard, either. Tyler had gotten sloppy. Success was inflating him, fast. He started showing up late, delegating things he didn't understand, bluffing in front of clients hoping no one would notice. But I noticed. And more importantly, HR would notice too, once I handed it to them the right way. But I wasn't done there. No. I wanted this to stick. So I went deeper. I created a fake lead, yes, I know it's shady, just to bait him. Set up a pretend email account, posing as a small retail brand looking for consultation. I mentioned a few of our proprietary tools and asked if Stratix could support a side partnership. You know, off the books. And guess what Tyler did? He responded with enthusiasm. Said he could loop me in through his personal consulting service. Attached his personal invoice template. Even used a non-compete violating email signature he created on Gmail. He fell for it in under 48 hours. Boom. That was the nail in the coffin. I had hard proof he was using company secrets for his own side hustle. And combined with his prior missteps, HR wouldn't just have cause. They'd have firepower. But I wasn't quite ready to launch yet. See, I wanted timing. I waited until Jenna and the C-suite were prepping for quarterly evaluations. Tensions were high, eyes were everywhere, and upper leadership was assessing promotions, budget cuts, and org reshuffling. That's when I made my move. The day I pulled the trigger was a Wednesday. Not dramatic. Not symbolic. Just the perfect middle of the week chaos. I scheduled an anonymous email to HR using a burner Proton mail account. It was simple, just a subject line that read: ongoing conflict of interest plus client data breach risk, urgent. Attached were screenshots of Tyler's emails with the fake client, the invoice with his personal branding as Gmail signature with that dumb self-made title, digital strategy consultant and brand architect Slack messages where he took credit for projects I led, copies of client decks lifted from internal files and notes on every policy violation he'd racked up over the past 6 months. I knew HR wouldn't ignore it. But to really light the fuse, I CC'd compliance, legal, and, oh yeah, Jenna. And then? I waited. Not even 3 hours later, Tyler's name was being whispered around the halls. I kept my head down, pretending not to notice. Kept doing my work like I wasn't the literal cause of his professional implosion. But I was listening. Every word. He's being investigated? Apparently he's been pitching to clients off the record. Someone said he's got a side business using Stratix materials. By Friday, the official meeting notice went out. Confidential, immediate compliance review, Tyler M. He was done, and he didn't even see it coming. That Monday, I got to the office early. Grabbed my coffee. Sat down. Watched Tyler stroll in late like usual, grinning, charming the interns. 30 minutes later, he was escorted out of the building by HR. No drama. No yelling. Just a silent walk, a confiscated badge, and a cardboard box with his fake succulent and Bluetooth speaker. Stratix released a vague internal memo. Tyler M. is no longer with the company. We wish him well in his future endeavors. But the real hit was what happened after. Because I didn't just want him fired. I wanted him unhireable. Remember all that evidence I collected? Yeah, I sent a sanitized version to a couple of clients, just enough to let them know that Tyler had been leveraging their data for side gigs. Then I made a few anonymous tips on Glassdoor and LinkedIn. Marked him under conflict of interest, non-compete violation, and data mismanagement. The kicker? Stratix filed an internal incident report that now shows up in his background checks. He's flagged for ethical concerns. Recruiters started pulling his offers. A friend in another agency said his name came up in a hiring call. And the hiring manager literally said, "We're passing." Heard some things. He applied for 5 firms in our industry. Got ghosted by all of them. Me? I got promoted. Officially. Jenna said something like, "We've always trusted your leadership. You've shown real resilience." I smiled. Said, "Thank you." But in my head, I was sipping champagne. The office got quieter after Tyler left. No more fake charisma floating through meetings. No more subtle one-upmanship. No more stolen ideas dressed up as innovation. It was peaceful. Clients I hadn't heard from in months started emailing me again. One of them literally said, "Glad we're dealing with the real brains behind the projects again." And Jenna? She didn't ask questions. She didn't dig. She just moved on. Because in corporate, the machine never stops for one missing cog, especially one that burned up on the way out. But me? I never forgot. Sometimes late at night, I check LinkedIn just to see what Tyler's been up to. He changed his headline from digital strategy consultant to just marketing professional. No listed job. No activity. No endorsements. And he knows. Oh, he knows. He knows someone set him up. He knows someone laid a trap. But the beautiful part? He doesn't know it was me. Because when snakes get too comfortable, they forget who sharpened their fangs in the first place. You can betray the person who built you. Just don't be shocked when they know exactly how to break you down. Ever trained someone who turned around and stabbed you in the back? Tell me in the comments. I live for these stories. And hey, if you enjoyed this one, hit that like button, subscribe for more real revenge stories, and ring that bell. Because karma's got a long memory. And so do I.